Thank you, Ciarán. Minister, this question relates to your predecessor, Minister Coveney, in office, had outlined that he was optimistic of securing a herring quota for the North West that would allow for some fishing to take place in herring in the autumn of the year. I'm just wondering, asking for an update in relation to that, whether quota has been secured, and to make sure that that quota would be allocated to vessels under 10 metres.
Thank you, Deputy Pringle. Minister, your response.
There are 2 herring stocks in the northwest area, and there have been correspondingly 2 separate ICES total allowable catch areas. Ireland has a share in both of these total allowable catches. Following a benchmarking exercise in 2015, the International Council for the Exploration of the Seas, ICES, found that while there are 2 separate herring stocks, it is not possible to segregate them in commercial catches or surveys. ICES considers that both stocks are depleted and recommended a 0 total allowable catch for 2016. Following the advice of the Marine Institute, Ireland sought at the December 2015 Council meeting a small commercial total allowable catch for both 6A North and 6A South in 2016 to avoid the loss of scientific data for these areas and prevent gaps in the time series. The Commission agreed to seek additional scientific advice on elements needed for a small commercial fishery, including the timing and geographical areas, with a view to setting a small commercial total allowable catch and quotas. Last week, a draft proposal was circulated by the Commission suggesting a total allowable catch of 4,840 tonnes, with 1,360 tonnes in 6A South and 3,480 tonnes in 6A North. At the request of Ireland and the UK, the Commission is currently examining the case for a slightly higher combined total allowable catch of 5,800 tonnes, with the same proportional split. This proposal was made on the basis that it would pose no additional risk to the stocks and would make it more likely that the necessary data would be acquired by making the fishery more economically attractive. As soon as the total allowable catch and quotas have been set, I will consider quota management for 2016 and whether there is a case to amend the quota management policy in place on an exceptional basis, taking into account that the quota available will be small and is being made available to support the collection of scientific data. Any proposed amendment will be the subject of consultation with stakeholders.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Pringle.
Minister, thank you for the answer. I think that is reasonably positive news in terms of the fact that a quota has been recommended for 6A South and 6A North. I just wonder, Minister, if you'd outline what the time frame is in terms of deciding on the additional quota that has been requested, and whether that will delay things much further. And I would ask you to look as well and ask within the department that your predecessor specifically stated that some of that, or a good proportion of that quota, would be ring-fenced for small-scale fishermen in the inshore sector, and that would particularly be fishing vessels in the under 10 metre segment, which I think is vitally important, because while it is a small quota, it would mean a significant amount of income for those particular fishermen, and would be of most value to them, whereas the larger scale fishing vessels, it wouldn't really be of any wild commercial use to those vessels because of the cost involved in actually catching it. So I think it's vitally important that it is ring-fenced for the small vessels and for the under 10 metres, and I would urge you to make sure that the regulations would be amended to reflect that.
Minister, your response.
I am aware of the broad interest in herring quota, and that it has been a quota that has been fished by boats of all sizes. But I think the Deputy makes the point well that in the context of the exceptionally small level of quota which has been ultimately proposed now, that there is a case for consideration of amended arrangements that may be focused on the inshore fleet. And if there is to be a change in that, and we await first of all the finalisation of the outcome of the request which we've put to the Commission, and I would hope that that was finalised sooner rather than later, because if it's to be, a 2016 quota, we need to get the arrangements in place, and if we're to amend the apportionment of that quota arrangements vis-à-vis inshore fishermen, we need to engage in the consultation on that process sooner rather than later. So I would hope that we can get a definitive word from the Commission and thereby subsequently commence the consultation with a view to how that quota is reallocated.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Pringle, please.
Yeah, Minister, hopefully that means a matter of weeks rather than any further length of time in terms of getting the final approval. And I mean, could you not consult on the basis of the 4,800 tonnes that has initially been granted, maybe to start that process earlier to make sure that people can avail of it. And also, just I presume when you talk about consultation, that the National Inshore Fisheries Forum will as well will be part of that consultation and part of the quota allocation section in relation to that, because I think that is important. And I think I can't understate the importance of the fact that it should be reflected for the smaller vessels and for the inshore fleet that they avail of this quota to ensure that their viability anyway.
Inshore Fisheries Forum, and they made a very interesting presentation on a whole range of issues, including this matter, and obviously they will be part of any consideration of how this quota would be allocated. I'm very conscious that the Commission, if you don't get this thing over the line by the end of July, the Commission goes into hibernation for August, and the clock is ticking on this. I'm very anxious to have it finalised sooner rather than later. I don't want to say a specific time frame, but I appreciate the logistics of final word from the Commission, consultation, and everybody knowing, what their entitlements are in terms of what is a relatively small quota allocation. We need to do it sooner rather than later, and I will be, trying to progress that. I will be in Brussels next Monday, and hopefully I will get an opportunity to try and progress the matter there.
Thank you very much, Minister.